We are here gathered this morning, the 28th day of April 2025, for the State of the State address for this month, where we will address critical issues in the polity and offer counsel to relevant stakeholders. We again want to thank you, gentlemen and ladies of the press, for continuing to adequately report our addresses and helping us maintain our reputation as the indefatigable conscience of governance in Osun State and Nigeria at large. This month, we are pressed hard to complain bitterly about a number of issues that affect both the Osun State government and the federal government, especially issues that have direct bearing on the security and welfare of the common Nigerian and dwellers of our dear state. 1. Continued crippling of the local government in Osun State. It is regrettable that more than a month after we first raised concerns about the situation of our local governments, they have remained crippled and unable to perform the basic duties of governance at the grassroots. The parts of common people in the state's rural communities, occasioned by the pains of common people in the state's rural communities, occasioned by the continued inactivity of local governments, is enough reason for responsive governments at all levels to urgently collaborate to find lasting solutions. An impasse of the nature that has crippled local government administration in Osun State is such that can be amicably resolved by government stakeholders if there was any true commitment to development. In case the realities are lost on relevant stakeholders, let us quickly mention a few gory implications of the current dysfunctional local governments in the state. 1. A dysfunctional local government means non-collection of internally generated revenue. This implies that our state is bleeding financially, losing crucial income that should go into development. 2. The primary health care system has also practically collapsed. Since primary health care centers draw funding from the local government covers, it is evident that activities of the health centers would have taken a bad hit, exposing rural dwellers to worse health conditions than they ever experienced. Our state cannot afford to get into widespread health emergency this way when we are unable to provide basic health care. 3. Citizens' documentation through local government identification letters have also paused, posing serious challenges to citizens of the state who need these vital documents to process important things. 4. Community development generally has collapsed. The few projects that local government in the state were executing have also stopped. Road maintenance, agric external services, and many more are on a disturbing pause. 5. Many vehicles registered in Osun State are currently unable to review their particulars, exposing the vehicle owners to ridicule, threats, or arrest and needless pains on the nation's road. We can go on listing the terrible implications of dead local governments, but we assume that responsible and responsive leaders should be as concerned as we are and thus take quick action to save whatever is left of our councils. We plead with all concerned to, in the interest of the state, find pro-people solutions to the ongoing crisis so that development is not altered. Particularly, recall that in the last address, we mentioned that NOGE and NUC have become part and parcel of the government. NLC have become part and parcel of governance in Osun State. This is unreasonable. Worsening insecurity in Nigeria. There is no attractive way of describing the security in Nigeria. We have reached a point where almost no part of the country is safe. From kidnapping to banditry to terrorism, Nigeria is at a point where citizens can no longer sleep in their own houses with absolute rest of mind. Today, in Nigeria, all tribes are being decimated in a manner that closely resembles ethnic cleansing. Yet the country seems to be incapable of stopping these unfortunate occurrences. We are at a point where we are advising ourselves to resort to self-help, since government is posturing as though it is unconcerned. We are very worried about the weeks and months ahead, especially as criminal elements threatening the peace of the country seem to be getting more emboldened day after day. We are afraid things may get even worse as we get close to election year. We passionately appeal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to urgently swing into action and secure the lives of Nigerians. This is a constitutional responsibility. It must, as a matter of urgency, put service chiefs in their toes so that we can get desired results. Continued delay of teacher and health workers recruitment in Osun. We recently received the news of plans by some Osun citizens who have been screened and interviewed in the teachers' recruitment process to protest the continued delay of the recruitment process. While we did not support any needless protest, it must also be stated that the continued delay of the recruitment process does not augur well for the development of the educational sector in the state. Pupils and students are turned out of our schools every year, having passed through a short-staffed education system that clearly could not have delivered quality education to them. The delay in recruitment of critical manpower also currently affects the health sector in the state, whereas shortage of manpower in the education and health sector slowed down not just the development of our society, but the growth and development of the human who people the society. We cannot continue to spend humongous sums on the renovation of health centers without providing adequate manpower to run them. Almost 3 years into the life of this current administration, the Osun State government has continued to fail at recruitment of critical manpower for the core sectors of the economy of our society. This is condemnable. We call on the government to expedite actions on the recruitment of teachers and health workers to safeguard the present and the future of our dear state. State of power supply in Nigeria. It is sad that despite very high tariffs, the state of power supply in Nigeria has worsened in recent times. Households that could boast of 16 hours per day electricity in a few years ago now get 3 hours in recent times. It is quite unfortunate, therefore, that the Minister of Power, Bayo Adelabu, recently made public claims that were not only untrue but also ungodly. Recall that the NLC has asked him to give us light and not lies. The president has to act now to solve the nation's power problems in a bid to foster true development. In conclusion, combining the crippling of local government with communal classes is a strong recipe for a total breakdown of order in our dear state, and government must act now to resolve all the problems. May God bless Osun State.